Um, and now we'll go to our next performer. Tāwhanga Nopera is an artist and academic who works as the health promotions coordinator at the University of Waikato in Kirikirikoa, Hamilton, Aotearoa, New Zealand. The work Tāwhanga makes is intended to provide wellness pathways for Takatapui and LGBTQI people through kaupapa Maori knowledge and practices. Tāwhanga's research and art investigates strategies of empowerment through haranga traditions and Maori weaving. So let's welcome our next performer, a brilliant artist.
Te te tā, tēnā koutou katoa. Tuatahi ka papa ki te tai o mihi ki te whenua I hora nei, me ki a koutou, nei iwi takitaki o te ao nei rā te mihi ki a koutou I tiaki ana te ao. Ai tika ana ki a pari te tai o mihi ki te hunga mate, ki a rātou kua takahia, te ara whānui a tānei, haere atu rā, ki tua o te ārai o ki oki ai. Tuia te rangi e tu ake nei, tuia te papa e tākoto nei, tuia tātou ke katoa ki te kaupapa o tēnei hui, ara ko te whakangāha o te mana o ngā iwi Takatapui o tēnei ao nei. Kia mauritu, kia mauriora, kia whakapota atu o tātou aroha. Nā reira, huri noi te whare, tēnā koutou katoa. That was just a short greeting in Te Reo Māori. When we introduce ourselves, we greet the land, we greet people, we greet those who have departed, and we just set out the foundation for what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to do something a little weird today, but I thought I'd just start with a kōrero about who I am and the work that I do. One thing I'm really mindful of living in Aotearoa New Zealand is that I'm speaking to you from a real place of privilege. And it's strange to be a person living with HIV, to be transgendered, to be same-sex attracted, to have grown out of poverty and to be sitting here talking to you about privilege. But I realise that as a New Zealander, I am really privileged to be able to spend time with my family safely, to be able to spend time with my friends, to socialise, to have a reasonably normal life after post-COVID. I know the rest of the world isn't really in a space of feeling like post-COVID, but speaking to you from the future, I'm telling you there's a reality and it's post-COVID and we're all heading there, so be strong. I wanted to talk about what we've observed here, because I'm an artist, but I'm also a researcher, and living with HIV and studying art just eventually turned into a researcher. And so a lot of the research that I do is in the LGBTQI space, and it's strategic research. It's both quantitative and qualitative research. And so what we've been finding in our experience of COVID is that there were predictions that Māori people would suffer really, really badly through COVID, because our experience has been that with every kind of global pandemic, we've been decimated, Māori people. But this pandemic was really different. Out of our entire population, we only had 8% of infections, and people have really marvelled at how that could be, how an Indigenous community in a colonised land could stay really well in the face of such panic and such unwellness. And what we've been able to observe is actually it's the strength of our accountability to family that has really helped us. In Māori families, people make decisions together, and people stick to those decisions, because when the wellness of your entire family is at stake, you do some drastic things and you make sure you're okay. And so I wanted to speak to that because family is really, really important. Last year, we completed a national survey. It was a 3-year national survey of the well-being of Māori Takatapui. And Takatapui is our word for people who are soul attracted to people of the same gender. And so we did a national survey it was the first national survey of all Takatapui people in the country. And we didn't get all of them, but we got a large sample. And what we found from that sample is that the strength-based approach that Māori people use to stay well after often being excluded from family, or being excluded from community, or going through a process of struggling with identity. What we've been able to find is that actually it's our knowledge of a family relationship and how family should be that is really empowering us, or that has been really empowering us through our colonial history. And so I want to speak to, I suppose, the world here and say that what you know about family is really, really important. And if you're in a space in your life where just being you makes it unsafe to be around your family, then think about the people in your life, the people who are around you, and look at those people and say, how is that person my mother? How is that person acting like my father? How is that person my aunt? How is that person my uncle? How is that person my younger sibling? How is that person my child? If we think on that level, then we'll bind each other to each other in our otherness. And it's really, really important to find strategies for safety and security. And so just from the research that we've been doing, we've been finding that family and our knowledge of family is what keeps us safe. And I'm really, really committed to that in my work. As I said before, I'm really privileged. I have a PhD. I was like, oh my God, they give people like you a PhD, but they do these days. And it's really powerful to work for a university that is focused on equity, a university that is focused on diversity, a university that is committed to the Treaty of Waitangi. It's really powerful to occupy a position in that university where I get to advise people on how to be well and how to include others. And so I take that privilege and I take it very seriously. And every day of my life is filled with conversations, empowering conversations with people about how to keep them well, about how I keep myself well, about how we keep each other well. And so I'm going to do a short performance. It's probably about 5 minutes, but it's a weird performance. And it's a performance that I've been like through lockdown, I think, or through this COVID period, I really needed to find some words that help me feel good, especially in the wake of Black Lives Matter and watching a lot of tragedy amongst Indigenous communities, or amongst the Indigenous communities of my friends who I really relate to. So I've got really good friends in Arizona and they're really struggling. I've got good friends all over the world and they're really struggling. And so I've put together this performance, which is just a lip sync really. It's a lip sync of some empowering conversation. And rather than speaking directly to all the harm that's happening at the moment, through my practice, what I've been trying to do lately is just put out good vibrations and put out positive words. And so I'm going to lip sync this text. And I hope, like I've only done it once before. I did it in a gallery last week and it was a weird feeling because it's a strange text, but it's powerful. So I'm going to do this for a bit. I'll start with a prayer just to settle the energy, and I'll finish with a short song.